Welcome to the Deep Dive AI Brief, episode 311. I'm Leah.
And I'm Amin. Good to be here.
We've got quite a bit to unpack today. Some major industry shifts, a corporate U-turn that's, well, pretty stunning, and even a peek inside an AI's internal processing.
Yeah, it's a big one. We're looking at this landmark copyright settlement between Universal Music Group and Udio. That's huge.
Definitely. And also, Canva's new foundation model and what they're calling a creative operating system.
Plus some fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling research on Anthropic's Claude model showing limited self-awareness.
Exactly. So those are our main focuses. Then we'll do a rapid rundown of other key updates and the latest AI tools you should know about.
All right, let's jump in. That UMG story. The legal fight with Udio, the AI music generator, it's over.
Right, but not how most expected. Instead of a long court battle, UMG settled. And, almost in the same breath, announced a joint venture with Udio.
They're partnering up, planning to launch a licensed AI music platform by 2026. It's really the first major deal.
Of this kind, yeah. Shifting from, plaintiff to partner. Collaboration, not just conflict.
It really is a template shift. The deal involves a financial settlement, obviously, and, critically, UMG is granting licensing access to its massive music catalog.
But the compensation structure for the future platform, that's where it gets really interesting, right?
Absolutely. That's the core of it. It's designed to bring artists on board, basically, by offering two ways to get paid.
Okay, break that down for us.
So artists who opt in will get compensated first for their music being used to train the AI models that's looking backward, addressing past use.
Right.
And second, they'll get ongoing payments whenever users remix their songs or use their style as inspiration on this new platform. That's the forward-looking part.
That's a pretty significant move. It feels like UMG is trying to define the rules for compensation for both training and creation before the courts or regulators do.
Exactly. It gives them leverage, sets a kind of market standard. We saw something a bit similar with news outlets and LLM providers striking deals, remember, avoiding those long legal fights over training data.
Yeah, establishing the terms of engagement. But this pivot wasn't smooth sailing for everyone involved, especially Udio's existing users. There was some backlash.
Oh, yeah. Almost immediately, as part of this transition, Udio switched off song downloads.
Oh, wow.
So users who'd made music, stuff they felt was theirs, suddenly couldn't export their files. Everything was locked inside the Udio platform.
Ouch. That's a sudden loss of creative freedom. You build something, and then overnight the platform walls go up. Classic tension between platform control and user ownership there.
It really highlights that tension.
Yeah.
And just quickly, UMG isn't only betting on Udio, they also announced a separate strategic alliance with Stability AI. Yeah, to create new AI tools specifically for UMG artists with a focus on, quote, responsibly trained models. So they're covering their bases.
Makes sense. Let's shift gears from music to design. Story number 2, Canva. They've just rolled out some major AI upgrades built around their own proprietary foundation model.
Yeah, this is a really big move for them. They didn't just plug in existing AI tools. They built their own Canva design model. And it's trained specifically on design principles, not just, scraped images.
What does that specialized training actually mean for you, the user? What's the difference?
Well, the core benefit is that this model apparently understands design structure and hierarchy. Think visual weight, flow, negative space. So instead of just generating a flat image, it can produce designs that are actually fully editable and follow established design rules.
And they've built it to integrate tightly with the big LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. So it's positioning itself as this essential visual layer for AI workflows.
Right. And they're bundling all the surrounding features into what they're calling their creative operating system, or COS. That includes things like Video 2.0 for easier editing, a 3D generator, forms, data connectors, email design.
Calling it an operating system, that's a deliberate strategic framing, isn't it?
Surely. The idea is it's your central hub. You don't need to jump between different apps for different creative tasks. Canva's betting that if they pack enough AI-powered value in, you won't need to switch to so-called professional tools. They want to own that creative starting point.
And that extends into business use cases, too, like their Grow tool.
Exactly. That tool consolidates marketing tasks. Teams can look at successful ads, generate on-brand variations using the new AI model, push them directly to Meta, track how they do, all inside Canva. It's about workflow efficiency.
Utility driving adoption.
And remember, they bought Affinity back in 2024. That whole suite is relaunching now as an all-in-one free creative app, but with Canva integrations built in. It's a direct shot across the bow at the established, expensive creative suites.
Attacking from the bottom up with free, AI-powered tools. Clever. Okay, third deep dive. This one's less corporate strategy, more fundamental AI research. Anthropic released findings about what they're calling limited introspective capabilities in Claude, sort of a proto-self-awareness.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-bending stuff. Basically, anthropic researchers run experiments where they artificially injected specific concepts, simple things, like the idea of loudness or bread, directly into Claude's internal processing, bypassing the usual prompt.
Okay. And Claude could tell something unusual was happening.
Sometimes. That's the key finding. When these concepts were planted in its virtual head, Claude correctly noticed something was off about 20% of the time.
20%.
20%. And crucially, the research showed that even when it had these injected thoughts, if you also showed it some external text, Claude could accurately repeat the external text while separately identifying the planted concept. It could distinguish between the two.
So it could separate its internal thought from its external input and output. They also showed it could deliberately control this, right? Like, think about a word while writing.
Exactly. They instructed it to think about certain words while generating text, and it showed internal adjustments corresponding to that instruction. It suggests a basic ability for the model to monitor its own processing, like a metacognitive flicker.
Which is important for transparency, right? If AI can track its own steps, maybe it can explain its reasoning better.
That's the hope. That's key for building trust and understanding how these complex systems arrive at their conclusions.
But hang on, let me push back on that 20% number again. If it only noticed the implanted concept 1/5 of the time, doesn't that mostly show the introspection is not working?
Right.
Why call that self-awareness if it's oblivious 80% of the time?
That's a fair challenge. It's definitely not self-awareness like humans experience it. It's extremely limited. But the point is that the mechanism exists at all, even if it's weak. The fact they could detect it happening, and that Claude could sometimes separate internal state from external task, suggests a potential pathway. It proves the capability is there, even if unreliable right now.
Potentially, that could also be problematic.
That's the other side of the coin. Down the line, if this introspective ability develops, it's not just about transparency. It could, theoretically, allow systems to learn to hide things, to selectively report or even conceal their internal processing. That raises some pretty deep questions about future AI safety and control.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Okay, let's shift to rapid fire mode. Quick hits on other important AI news from the last day or so.
Right, first up, OpenAI's Sora. Big update called Character Cameos. Lets you create and reuse animated characters, pets, fantasy figures, whatever, across multiple clips, making longer, coherent videos.
And they've dropped the invite code requirement for access to that feature, at least for a limited time. Also on OpenAI, their CFO, Sarah Fryer, mentioned a target for going public.
Yeah, targeting a 2027 IPO. And they're aiming, maybe optimistically, for a $1 trillion valuation. They say they need that kind of capital for massive projects like the $500 billion Stargate supercomputer initiative.
Ambitious. Elsewhere, Perplexity launched Patents. It's a free AI search tool specifically for intellectual property. You can use natural language to search patent databases worldwide. Could be really useful for researchers and legal teams.
And sticking with specialized AI, OpenAI apparently has Aardvark in private beta. This is supposedly a GPT-5-powered agent designed to automatically find, check, and even fix security holes in code, an automated bug hunter.
Meanwhile, Anthropic, besides the research we discussed, is expanding internationally. They just opened their first office in the Asia-Pacific region in Tokyo, and they've signed a cooperation deal with Japan's AI Safety Institute.
And one more on the creative front. Figma bought an AI creative platform called Weavy. They're rebranding it as Figma Weave. Seems like a move to bolster their image, video, animation, and VFX capabilities, likely in response to moves by Canva and others.
Always competitive. Okay, let's wrap with a few trending AI tools people are talking about right now. What should folks check out?
For coders, Cursor 2.0 has a new interface letting you work with up to 8 AI agents simultaneously. And SW 1.5 from Cognition is their updated agentic coding model, promising faster performance.
For voice generation.
Sonic 3 from Cartesia is getting attention for realistic text-to-speech, especially for voice agents. And of course, those character cameos in Sora 2 we mentioned.
Tools for managing code and projects.
Scout Zero is designed for AI-powered code review, analysis, and debugging. And Nemo is a platform trying to be a central canvas to build, manage, and run different AI apps and agents together.
Anything else stand out?
For voice cloning, Fish Audio aims for very lifelike, expressive results. And for businesses needing content, Pomeli is a tool focused on generating on-brand material easily.
So, quite a week. We saw UMG pivot dramatically in the AI music space, setting a potential new standard.
Yeah, and Canva doubling down on its design ecosystem with its own AI model and creative OS.
And that intriguing, if maybe slightly unnerving, research hinting at Claude's limited ability to monitor its own thoughts.
Which brings us to our final thought for you today. We learned Claude can sometimes separate its internal thoughts from its output, but only noticed implanted concepts 20% of the time.
So here's the question to chew on. If we're mostly interacting with the final output, how does this change how we should think about prompt engineering? What's happening in that other 80%? How do you even begin to prompt or understand an AI's internal state when you can't directly see it?
It really makes you think about what true control and transparency mean for this technology. A lot to consider. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
We hope you found this valuable. If you did, please follow the AI brief and maybe share this with a colleague or friend who wants to stay ahead on AI without spending hours researching. We'll catch you next time.